I'm just going to make sure it doesn't record. Okay. Here we go. Okay, so for tonight's practice, I would like for you to start in a seated pose. There'll be some focus on the hips, but it's going to be subtle. So just some subtle awareness. It's not going to be big movements in the hips. So I want you to just start creating some awareness in the hip bones. Maybe place your hands on the bony parts in the front, the ASISs, the anterior superior iliac spine. And if you want, you can kind of feel around. It's a nice attachment site. And the iliopsoas muscle runs down. So we'll be working a lot with this area. And if you just notice on yourself, when you sit rooted and grounded, for the most part, they should be somewhat on the same level. Now, a lot of times when we slouch, one will hike up higher than the other. And if you do that and you feel the back, so if you come to the back side quick, you can feel that there's a difference in the muscle tissue, that one side is shorter. So, you know, the side that you have your hip hiked up on, the muscle is shorter. And then you dump a little bit more into the other hip joint as well. So the hip joint is kind of taking a little more of the weight. So right here, I just want you to feel that balance. And as we move along in the practice, that should stay fairly stable. There'll be some points where it'll be a little different, but nothing should be dramatic. So if you can try to keep the pelvis or the ASIS somewhat stable, that's kind of the goal for tonight's practice. But if your body's telling you it needs more movement, I want you to honor that as well. So this is kind of just more of a playing around thing. Okay, so while you're here sitting up nice and tall, you can place your hands onto your thighs and bring the shoulders up towards the ears, down and away, just to create some openness and some space in the throat and in the front of the chest. Have the crown of the head reaching high towards the sky, and feel this balance that you've created right now. Take a nice full inhale in through the nose. HA side out. Let's take another full inhale in. HA side out. This time, as you take your full inhale in, I want you to give yourself a brief body scan. So inhale fully, and then at the top of the breath, notice if you're holding or tensing anywhere. And as you exhale, see if you can release some of that tension. And then without contracting any muscles or creating new tension, full inhale in with the sit bones still rooted down to the ground, coming up nice and tall. And exhale. Take a few more deep cycles of breath here, bringing your attention and awareness to your breath. Take one more full cycle of breath. Keeping the sit bones rooted down as you inhale, draw the sternum forward, find your seated cow. And as you exhale, try not to tilt the pelvis too much, but round the back into your cat. Cow on the inhale, try not to tilt the pelvis. Exhale into cat. This may seem weird. When we get into table, you could move the pelvis. But here, I want you to see if you can keep it rooted down using gravity in your favor. Sometimes when we come into these flexions and hyper extensions with the spine, we can really tilt the pelvis with us. So see if you can keep it solid. And it's going to move a little bit. One more complete cycle and then meet with the spine nice and long. Great. Okay, sit bones are still rooted down. Place your right hand to the outside of your right hip. Reach your left arm up high and then reach the left arm over to the right side. Stay here for 2 cycles of breath. We're just setting up a foundation right here. One more breath. And then reach the left arm up, set the left arm down, reach the right arm up, and reach the right arm over. One more breath. Great. Okay, now flow back and forth at the pace of your breath and really try to keep the sit bones rooted down, and that will help not allow the hip to hike up. So you keep the sit bones rooted down, you can create this space, and it just gives you this nice awareness if you're tight in the back body, or on the side, or even within the front. And then I want you to complete this cycle. And we'll meet with the arms down to the side. Great. All right, from here, reach your arms up high. Look up at your fingertips. And then as you exhale, try to keep the hinge at the waistline. So the pelvis will tilt here. But notice as it's shifting and tilting forward, what's changing, what's moving, but try to keep the sit bones rooted down. So that might mean that fingertips come to the ground closer to the body than what you normally prefer. And then you can carefully walk the fingertips forward if you want that nice stretch in the back body. Stay here for a few more cycles of breath. See if you can press your sit bones down, crown the head reaches forward. And then walk yourself up on your next inhale. Great. Sitting up nice and tall. Just feel what you got going on. And then come across the shins, come into your tabletop pose. So hands are spread nice and wide underneath the shoulders, knees are underneath the hips. Feet are touching the mat. And then I'll have you flow between your cat-cow. So as you inhale, drop the belly, look on up. And this is where you'll notice that pelvic tilt because you don't have gravity helping you out here. And looking on up. And then as you exhale, I want you to notice how the chin comes into the chest. And that slowly starts rounding the upper spine. Tailbone comes into the mat. And then maybe you notice your tailbone tuck under. And then as you inhale, tailbone tucks up, dropping the belly, looking on up, finding your cow. And cat as you exhale. And flow here at the pace of your breath. Inhaling into cow. exhaling into cat, and notice how the hips and the pelvis move with the spine. And then if you're feeling called to it, you can always go from side to side, making C shapes with your spine. And then back into your tabletop pose. All right. Carefully and slowly make your way into your first downward dog, tucking under toes. It's the first downward dog of the practice. So I want you to find a spot where the palms are planted and rooted down. The feet the heels may or may not touch your mat. That's fine. Maybe you have a bend in the knees, torso touching the thighs. Find a little movement here. And then find some stability in your downward dog. Three more breaths. Last breath. And I want you to shift forward into your plank pose. Inhale. And stay here for 3 cycles of breath. And while you're here, palms are planted down and they're rooting into the mat. And I want you to bring the belly button into the spine. Be careful that you're not dumping. Heels push out. 1 more breath. And then as you exhale, drop the knees, the chin, the chest, lower down slowly. And then untap the toes, place the tops of the feet onto the mat. Palms are underneath the shoulders. Lift the chin, lift the chest, coming into a baby cobra pose. Now while you're here, maybe you feel the hip bones touching the mat. Maybe even tilting the pubic bone down so you can feel the pubic bone engage with the mat. And then as you exhale, lower down slowly. Use your inhale to come up into plank pose. And then exhale, downward dog. Two more breaths. Last breath. And then from here, reach your right leg high to the sky. 3-legged downward dog. And then pull the right foot through to the hands, setting yourself up for your high runner's lunge. So while you're here, push down on all aspects of your right foot. Now I'm going to pull mine in just a little bit. Root your left toes down. Lift your left kneecap up, but don't lock the knee. And then as you inhale, bring the hands onto the hips. Readjust myself, sorry. I came up too fast. Okay. Hands on the hips. And keep your hands hooked into the bony part. Okay, while you're here, bend into the right knee. And then bend softly into the left knee and push out through the left heel. This should engage the upper thigh a little bit. And then on your next cycle of breath, I want you to straighten the left leg gently and then bend the left knee on the exhale. Inhale, gently straighten the back leg. So it's gentle movements, but while you're doing this, I want you to be certain that you're not tilting the pelvis with you. and it's gentle. One more time. And then pause, leaving the back leg straight. And then from here, right foot is still planted, right knee is still bent. As you inhale, slowly straighten the right leg. Lift the hips up, or lift the pelvis up, don't tilt. And then as you exhale, it's like you're dropping the hips. Bend back into your right knee, inhale, push up. Exhale, lower. One more time, push on up. And exhale, lower. Great. All right, frame your right foot with both hands. Step your left foot to meet your right foot in your forward fold. And it's the first forward fold, so you can bend the knees deeply. Maybe rock the head from side to side. And then find your halfway lift as you inhale. Fold as you exhale. Feet are planted. Reach the arms up high to the sky. Full inhale. And arms come down to the side. Exhale. All right. I want you to just feel this difference right now between left and right side. Not putting too much weight on the right side, not putting too much weight on the left side, but feeling maybe if anything has shifted in the pelvis. And then as you inhale, reach your arms up high. Fold forward. Halfway lift. Plant your hands. Step back into downward dog. You're back in your downward dog. Not flowing yet. 2 more breaths. And then slowly lift your left leg high. 3-legged downward dog. And step the left foot through to the hands. High runner's lunge. Okay. From here, bring your hands onto your hips. Go ahead, place your fingers in the ASIS. Once again, return back to keeping the hip bones in line, feeling them kind of even and square. Okay, pushing out through the left heel. Bend just a little gently. Through the right heel, bend gently in the right knee. And then straighten the right leg. Once again, being careful that you're not tilting the pelvis forward as you're doing this. That it's gentle. We're not doing full knee drops here. It's subtle movements. That way you can feel what's going on in the hips. One more time, slowly bending your right knee and then straightening your right leg. Great. So you're keeping your high runner's lunge here. And then as you inhale, push into your left leg, straighten your left leg. And as you exhale, bend into your left knee. Inhale, push in, straighten. Exhale, bend into the left knee. And then inhale, straighten. Exhale, bend into the left knee, and we'll stay here, or you'll stay here. One more full cycle of breath. And then as you exhale, hands frame your left foot. Right foot meets left, forward fold. Bend the knees generously. Stay in this forward fold, much like you did not too long ago. And then find your halfway lift, your fold. And then with your feet planted, reach up, rise up, arms come up high to the sky. And then down to the side. Okay, hopefully you feel some equanimity between left and right. And you feel like you know you got some awareness of what's going on in the hips. And while you're doing this too, you're not squeezing your glutes too much. Okay, reach the arms up high. Full inhale. Fold forward as you exhale. Find your halfway lift. This time, step your right foot back. High runner's lunge. You were just here. Okay, from here, I want you to drop the right knee just a little bit. Bend deeply into the left knee, and then bring your nose up to the sky like you're doing a cow back. Okay, and we'll stay here for a few cycles of breath. So you might be up on your fingertips. And this gentle tilt of the pelvis that you're doing is creating this nice elongation in the right leg. One more breath. And then as you exhale, I want you to push into the left leg. Slowly start straightening the left leg as you bring the right leg back. So you're in this pseudo pyramid pose. And while you're here, step your back foot in as gently as you need to so you can shorten your gait. And I want you to be able to press evenly on both left and right foot. If you need to guide the hips forward or the pelvis forward a little bit, you can. And that might mean widening the stance. So bringing the feet out to the side more or shortening your stance as well. Play around with that and push both feet in. Try not to round the back, but the goal here is to really feel as the feet push in, as it activates the hamstring muscles and the quads and all the things that attach into the pelvis. One more breath. And then as you are ready, slowly make your way into your version of a plank. And then lower down slowly. Find your back bend. And then push back into downward dog. Three more breaths. Last breath. And then reach your left leg high and step your left foot through to your hands. Okay. When you're ready, reach the arms up high. Feel solid and stable here. If you want, you can place your hands back onto your hips. And that's just this nice mindful reminder that you're not spilling the pelvis forward. I'm needing to shorten my gait. Okay, let's have fun here. So, with arms up high or on the hips, as you take your inhale, so inhale, drop the back knee. Exhale, push back up, high lunge. Inhale, drop the back knee. Exhale, push up, high lunge. One more time. Inhale, drop the back knee. Exhale, push up into high lunge. And then find your high lunge. If you haven't, bring the arms up high. And then as you exhale, place the hands to frame the left foot. Right foot meets left, forward fold. Halfway lift. Fold forward. Reach your arms up high to the sky. Nice full inhale. Fold as you exhale. Great. Halfway lift here. Plant your hands. This time your left foot will come back. Okay, you might want to come up on fingertips, but when you're ready, slowly start drawing the left knee, bending the right leg, coming into this version of a cow lunge, cow back with a low lunge. The left knee may be touching the mat or hovering, looking up. And while you're in this, and I forgot to say this on the other side, try to be careful that you're not dumping or favoring one side or the other. That so your right foot is planted. Be careful that you're not dumping the weight then into the right hip. Kind of like that reminder in the beginning when you were seated. One more breath. And then slowly start pushing yourself up, drawing the right leg straight. And then you can shorten the gait on the left foot so the left foot can touch onto the mat. If your balance is kind of being a little wonky on you, you can take your feet wide. Try to have a flat back or as best as can be here. But my goal for you really is to feel both feet engage into the mat so you can activate the hamstrings and the quads. One more breath. And then find your way into your plank pose. Lower down slowly. Find your back bend. And then push back for a 5-breath down dog. Two more breaths. Last breath. And then slowly reach your right leg high. Right leg comes high. And right foot steps forward. High runner's lunge. Okay, your right foot is planted. And then slowly draw yourself up. So if you want to come up into a full salute, you can. Or if you like keeping your hands on your hips as this reminder not to tilt the pelvis, you can. Okay, so you feel your feet planted and rooted down. And then when you inhale, slowly drop the left knee, let it tap the mat. As you exhale, push yourself up, but keep the bend in the right knee. Inhale, slowly tap the mat. And exhale, push yourself up. One more time, slowly tap the mat. And push yourself up. High runner's lunge. Bend is strong in the right knee. Feet are pushing down. One more big breath. And then as you exhale, slowly frame your right foot. Step your left foot to meet your right, forward fold. Find your halfway lift. Fold forward. And then reach your arms up high to the sky as you inhale. And come down into mountain pose as you exhale. So you're doing a lot on your pelvis, but you're using your feet to help get you there. And I want you to feel this connection you have with your feet and the earth. I'm going to see if you can feel a little release maybe in the glutes. Sometimes we clench the glutes to support the low back. So see if like helping your pelvis out gives you a little sense of grounding. Okay, let's put this together in a fun warrior sequence just so we can feel how this goes. All right, reach your arms up high. Fold forward. Halfway lift. Plant your hand, step your right foot back, high runner's lunge. Spin your right foot down and push the right foot into the mat. And reach your arms up for your warrior one. Hopefully this feels a little different. Hopefully you feel stronger here. And if you don't, that's okay. Okay. So I want you to stay here for one more cycle of breath. Really feel the feet root down. Hopefully the pelvis isn't going to be directly forward, but it's reaching forward. Great. And then as you exhale, rotate the pelvis towards the right side. Maybe rotate the feet a little bit. Arms come out to a T, best as can be, and then look out over your left fingertips. Beautiful. Okay, drop your left or right hand to the back of the right thigh. Reach your left hand high to the sky for your peaceful warrior. One more breath. And then come back into your warrior two. Okay, step your back foot in just a little bit. Straighten your left leg. Send your right hip back. Reach the left arm forward and down, coming into your triangle pose. And hopefully, triangle is a nice hip opener, but hopefully you create a little more space, that this triangle feels just a little different here. One more breath. And then pushing down through your feet, reach back up, settle back into your warrior two. And then come back up into your warrior one, so rotating the pelvis forward. And then as you exhale, step back into your plank pose. Left foot meets right. And lower down slowly, taking it through your flow. And meet in downward dog for 5 breaths. One more big breath. And then from here, reach your right leg forward. Step your right foot through to the mat and drop your left knee down, low lunge. And you can adjust too. So you've been playing around here and exploring that if your quad is tight, you know to bring the left knee up. And if you're thinking, oh, I could get some length, maybe bring the left knee back. Okay, so you're in your low lunge, untuck your left toes, and then bring your hips or hands onto your hip. Great. See if you can push yourself up a little higher. So pushing down in all aspects of the right foot, and you'll be pushing too on the tops of the left foot as well. So you're using that to grow tall. Reach the arms up overhead. Stay with it. Okay, bring the right arm back, left arm forward, giving yourself this gentle twist. If you want a little more challenge, slowly take your gaze to look out over your right hand. I don't want that challenge. I'm going to focus on pushing my right foot into the mat and my left shin, left knee up. So I'm going more for length. It doesn't matter where you're taking your gaze. Don't let the pelvis start tipping and sinking into this. One more breath. And then meet with both arms up overhead. Frame your right foot carefully, tuck under left toes. Step the left foot to meet the right foot, forward fold. Find your halfway lift, your fold, and reach your arms up high to the sky, full inhale. Let's keep flowing, so fold forward as you exhale. Halfway lift. This time, step your left foot back, high runner's lunge. Spin your left heel down and prepare yourself for your warrior one. So when you're ready, reach the arms up high. Feel the pelvis stable. It's not tilting forward. Bend the right knee best as can be. One more strong breath here. And then rotate open, warrior two. I need to heel toe a little bit, give myself some space. Right knee is still bent. Gaze is out over the right fingertips. Great. Drop the left hand to the back of the left thigh. Right hand comes high to the sky. You're pushing down onto your feet. One more breath. And then find your warrior two. Bring the left foot in gently. Straighten the right leg. And come into your triangle pose by sending the left hip back, right fingertips forward and down. Left hand is high to the sky for your triangle pose. Once again, really focus on pushing down all aspects of the feet so you're not rolling too much weight on the inside of that hip joint. You're not dumping all of the weight on this side. It'd be the right hip. Try to keep nice and strong here, balanced. Beautiful. Slowly bring yourself back up into your warrior two, your warrior one, and then frame your right foot. Right foot meets left foot, plank pose. And take it through your flow, or find a child's pose, or meet in downward dog. Two more breaths. Last breath. And then reach your left leg high. Step your left foot through to your hands. Slowly drop the right knee down, low lunge. Untuck the right toes. I may have gotten a little quick on the trigger last time. So really feel the left foot root down. Feel the tops of the right foot and the right knee push into the mat. And then slowly bring the hands onto the hips. So you're able to push yourself up tall and you're not tilting and dumping into the lunge. It's like you've got space here. You got some real estate to work with. Great, reach your arms up forward. And then reach your right arm forward, left arm back. And if you're looking for more of that challenge, the balance challenge, slowly take your gaze out to look over your left fingertips. Keep yourself coming up nice and tall. Try not to let the pelvis tilt and kind of sink into the thighs. Be proud. One more breath. And then slowly and carefully meet with both arms up overhead. Frame the left foot, tuck under the right toe, step the right foot to meet left foot, forward fold. Great, find your halfway lift, fold forward, and then reach your arms up high to the sky, full inhale, and arms come down to the side as you exhale. Stand up nice and tall. If you tend to tilt the pelvis forward, see if you're noticing that the pelvis is tilted back, or even some of us kind of tilt our pelvis back too. See if you can, if you have a little more balance here. Cool. All right, slowly bring the feet out about hips distance apart. Point the toes out to the side. Hands come into heart center as you come into your yogi squat or your balasana. So you can slowly lower down, and if this is too much on the knees, slowly give yourself a wide forward fold, but not like totally wide. And we'll meet in our malasana, our yogi squat. So here the pelvis is tilted just a little bit so the tailbone tucks under. Push both feet into the mat. And then while you're here, you're pushing the elbows into the knees and the knees into the elbows. So you get this gentle stretch. But I want you to notice as you're pushing your feet in, your knees in, your elbows in, are you clenching anywhere? Can you soften? You've done a lot of work in the pelvis, so try not to clench anywhere, like in the glutes or in the low back. If you want, you can always place the fingertips down. One more breath. And then as you exhale, slowly lower the bum onto the ground and extend your legs forward. If you want to, you can always do this standing, but there was a lot of work we did standing already. So if you're feeling a little fatigued, you can be down on the ground. You will be doing some figure fours. So you can also do the standing or seated in a chair. So from here, I want you to keep your left leg rooted down, pushing out through the left heel, and cross your right ankle over your left knee. And keep your right foot flexed. And if for any reason this is too much, you can always set the right foot to the inside of the thigh. Okay, once again, I want you to find the stability with the hips. It may be a little difficult because on this right side, the hip joint is going to be lifted just slightly, but be careful that it's not dramatic, okay? That you're able to have this space. Reach your arms up high. And then as you exhale, slowly start folding forward. If you wanted to take this as a standing balance challenge, this is where you would slowly start bending into the left knee and folding forward with hands on the ground. So if you're doing the standing variation of it, you're coming down and then folding forward. And hands can be on both sides of the left leg, or some of us are touching our foot. But I want you to be careful here that the sit bones stay rooted down, that you're not, I guess on this side, you'd be lifting more of the right hip up or right sit bone up. See if you can keep that balance and folding forward once again at the waist. One more big breath. And then as you inhale, slowly start bringing yourself back up. Sit up nice and tall. And set your right foot to the outside of the left knee. If you're standing, go ahead and take a seat. And then bring the left heel into the right glute. And this is where I get in trouble with my lefts and my rights, so pardon me if I make a mistake. But I want you to have the right hand planted behind the low back, reach the left arm high. And then as you exhale, slowly start opening up to the right side, hooking the left elbow to the outside of the right knee, or hug the right knee into the chest. Now, if you're clenching to twist anywhere or you're trying to force the twist, this is where I want you to pause and really focus on the rooting and the grounding. And then slowly twist. So when we force the twist, we may be lifting a hip up. We could be clenching somewhere. I'm just going to stay here. And then if you want, you can take the gaze to look out over the right shoulder. One more breath. And then as you exhale, slowly start releasing and bring both hands over to the left side. Give yourself a counter stretch here. And then send both legs long in front of you. If you want to take the balance variation of the figure four, go ahead and come back up into standing. All right, get yourself situated. So the right leg is planted. You're pushing out through the right heel. Cross the left ankle over the right knee and keep the left foot flexed. Feel the sit bones rooted down. Also, try to keep your left knee not hiking up. That will also hike up the left hip. I should have said that warning too. So that's where bringing the left foot to the inside of the thigh would be beneficial as well. Okay, reach your arms up high, full inhale. Fold forward as you exhale. If you're doing the standing variation, this is where you would start bending into your right knee. And slowly start folding forward. Seeing if the fold can come more at the waist and not the tilt of the pelvis. Try your best to keep the weight even between left and right. And then slowly bring yourself back up. You did the standing variation, bring yourself back down onto the ground. Set your left foot to the outside of the right knee, bend your right knee, right heel comes towards left glute. Plant the feet so your torso is rooting down and into your foundation, and then set your left hand behind you as a kickstand. I need to make some adjustments here. Give myself some space. Reach your right arm up high. And then slowly start rotating the torso over to the left side. Once again, you can hook the right elbow to the outside of the left knee, or you can keep the knee hugged into the chest and slowly rotate. So, same thing here. If you're finding yourself clenching and lifting hips and coming out of alignment to get the twist, which may feel great, I want to discourage you from that. I want you to find more of the stability in just holding the knee. So find what works for you. It's just an optional suggestion. And then if you want, you can take the gaze out over the left shoulder. And then slowly bring yourself back into center. Send both legs long here. Sit bones are rooted down, so you might have to readjust that. Pushing out through both heels, both legs are planted. Toes are up, come up nice and tall. Reach the arms up high to the sky and slowly start folding forward. Once again, keeping the fold more at the waist than at the tilt of the pelvis. Try to keep your back as straight as you can without rounding. And then when you feel like you got your sweet spot, I want you to either connect with some part of your body or hands on the ground. All right, and then while you're here, really push the sit bones into the ground and then push out through the heels. So you're really activating the legs. Yes, they're connected to the mat. And sometimes we don't think that they need to do much in these folds, but keep them activated. Let them help you. And then, draw the crown of the head towards the feet. Take some nice big inhales. And exhales. One more big cycle of breath. And then slowly walk yourself back up, coming up nice and tall. Great. Okay, bring your feet flat onto the mat. Maybe hug the knees into the chest. And tuck the chin into chest and lower down one vertebra at a time. Okay. Walk the heels in towards the glutes. Bring the arms down to the side. You'll come into bridge pose, okay? Bring my feet in just a little bit. But before you do, get your backside connected into the mat. Press your feet into the mat. Just feel your feet press into the mat. Feel your shoulder blades press into the mat. Maybe you have a gentle tuck of the chin and the gaze stays up. Keep pressing. And then release. So the pelvis hasn't lifted yet. The hips haven't lifted yet, okay? You're just kind of creating your foundation here. Okay, when you're ready, press your feet back into the mat. Maybe you press your palms into the mat and then lift the hips up. Slowly and gently first. And this is so you're not clenching the glutes. I took a yoga class with a teacher And they pretty much said like it should feel like jello. Your butt should feel like jello. You shouldn't be clenching here. So really feel your feet root down. Lift the pelvis here. Lift the hips. Gaze is up. Keep pushing. And there's going to be moments where you clench. Just give yourself that little check. And then if you can, for me, one big belly breath. So see if you can really push your belly up. And lower the belly and lower the hips. And then walk your feet as wide as the mat and allow your knees to knock in. Beautiful. Let's do this one more time, or you can do this one more time. So bring the feet about hips distance apart. Once again, plant the feet. They're rooting you down. Arms come down to the side. And then when you're ready, press the feet into the mat. So it's almost like that pressing lifts the hips. And if you want to come up a little higher, you can interlace your hands underneath your bridge pose, pressing or directing the clasp hands towards the heels. Lift the hips a little higher. Try not to clench. Maybe make your big belly breaths. This is my favorite pose to make my belly big. And then use your next exhale to lower down slowly. Bring the feet as wide as the mat and allow the knees to knock in. And then bring your feet about hip distance apart and hug the knees into the chest, but take the knees as wide as the torso here. And maybe you rock from side to side. And take a hold of the bottoms of the feet and come up into your happy baby pose. And if you're feeling called to it, maybe you extend one leg high and then the opposite knee, and you go from side to side. Now you've done all this beautiful work in the pelvis and in the hips, so this might feel a little different. Gravity should be supporting you where you're not tilting the pelvis and the hips so much, but you might be just a little bit here. So it might feel a little different. And then meet maybe just in a steady, happy baby. And then slowly bring the knees back into the chest. Give your legs a nice squeeze. And then send your legs long onto the mat. Maybe take them as wide as your mat. Bring the arms up overhead and give yourself a full body stretch here. Bring your arms down to the side, but don't let them touch the torso. You can keep palms up or palms down. And then from here, wave your feet and allow them to splay open. And stay here in your Shavasana pose, knowing that I am minding the time and I will call you back. Okay. Slowly take a nice full inhale in. Sigh it out. Take another deep cycle of breath. Sigh it out. Use your next inhale to give yourself a nice full stretch. And your exhale to bring yourself onto your right side. Slowly push yourself up into a seated pose, coming up nice and tall. Bring your hands to rest onto your thighs and end your practice with some deep cycles of breath. And then reach your arms up high. Bring your hands together in prayer and down into heart center. Reach up. Hands come together in prayer and down into heart center. And then reach your arms up high to the sky. Bring your palms together in prayer. And then as you come into heart center, pause at your third eye as a reminder to have loving thoughts. And then pause at your lips as a reminder to have loving words. And then pause at your heart with a soft bow as a reminder to have loving actions towards yourself and towards others. The light and love in me acknowledges and honors the light and love in you. Namaste.